Namaste, my dear friends. Yellarigu namaskara. Sabko mera pranam. Today's session is, I think, the most important session for a CA student who is going to write his examinations anytime. One is how to prepare, but there's something even more important. How do I actually write in the examination hall? So today's session is on learning how to write the answers, how to present our answers in the examinations, both for law and for tax. So let's understand for both of them, one for law and one for tax at intermediate, CA intermediate level. Let's now straight away get into how to write answers in the examination so that you can score good marks. So let's understand how you're supposed to write the answers. Now what I've done for you is, I will not only teach you as to how to write the answer. Yes, I will not only teach you how to write the answer, but I'll also show you how some of the students had written the answers in the examination. So I'll take some practical demonstration for you to show you what was the examination question, for how many marks it was, and how the student actually wrote the answer, and how the CA Institute has actually corrected it, and how they're given the marks. And then if it was correct, what was correct in their answer? If it was wrong, what was missing in their answers, and how you should have improved the answer to get the full marks. So this is your most useful session to understand how to write the answers. So let's straight away get into the subject. How to write or present your answers in CA examinations, both for law and for tax. This is for CA intermediate, law and tax. This session is for intermediate students. Of course, you can still apply it for final also, absolutely no problem. First, let me start with the general instructions when you walk into the examination hall to write the examination. What you need to understand is, this is how your answer sheet will look like. I've taken one of them from the May 2019 examination ka first sheet, answer sheet, how it looks like. And if you see here, it has been perforated. This is because here you would have written your roll number, which they will tear it, and then they will be attaching it with barcoding so that there is no malpractice that would happen. So one portion would be torn. So you need to know where to write your roll numbers. And then here, if you see here, to be ticked by the candidate against the question answer. That means they're trying to tell you that you'll have to tell as to which all you have answered. So suppose you have answered this question, if you tick here, then marks awarded. So they will tell how much is the marks they're giving you. This will be filled by the examiner. Your job is to just to tick as to which all questions you've answered. Suppose you've answered 1, you've answered 3, you've answered 4, then you've answered 6. If this is how you've answered, you'll have to tick and write there which all you've answered, because accordingly they'll allocate the marks. And then here, if you see here, you're supposed to avoid red pen. You're not going to use red pen. So then I'll do one thing. I will start using red pen. Why? Because we are supposed to use the red pen. That means when we correct your papers, we are supposed to use the red pen for corrections. And therefore, you are supposed to use either black or blue. Now, here is the instruction sheet. They're right behind, like how I showed you the perforated line here. Yes, just behind that sheet, right? In your answer sheet, there would have been some instructions given. I would definitely advise all my students to please read through these instructions given. Now, this was the instructions given in 2019 paper. Now, what they said was, they said you have to write the roll number only in that right hand corner, right? Only there in the right hand corner, yeah, where they've asked you here in this portion where they would have asked you to write on the other side. And then you can use black or blue ballpoint pen. And you need to ensure that you have to write the name of the examination, right? Group number, paper number at the appropriate space only. So only the respective place you're supposed to fill up all this. I think you're clear what I'm talking about. Then of course there will be a barcode sticker. Ensure you have to place it in the right place. Yes. Then since a machine will read the roll number, please check and ensure that roll number written in numbers, words and circles darkened are correct. So very important to ensure that you have to give correct roll number, and please ensure that you written it in numbers also, you have written it in words also. At the same time, you have circled the Yeah, you have to darken the circles. Yeah, the coloring of the circles. Bowl, baby, bowl, goal, goal, goal. Do that correctly. Then all the answers should be written neatly and legibly. Right? And most important point which I want you to remember as a student when you're answering is this part. Answer to each question must be commenced on a fresh page. You see, very important to remember this. Don't irritate the examiner by trying to squeeze in everything. You have paid the exam fees. They will supply the answer sheets, so you're allowed to take additional sheets also. So don't do some conjuicy there only ki wahi pe likh lenge, adjust kar lenge. Every new answer, start with a new sheet and write the question number clearly on that new sheet, right? So ensure you start with a fresh page. And you should write the question number prominently on the top of each page. This is the most important part. Right on top of each page, you have to write it. Of course, you can write it on the margins, but I would still prefer you to write it right on top there. And then whatever answers you have to write, answer to each question in all parts. Now, this is the important part. For all parts should be fully completed in one page. What they mean by should be fully completed in one page or in consecutive set of pages before the next question is taken up. So what are they trying to say? See, in your examination, don't try writing like, I will answer 3A1. Then I will answer 4B2. Then I'll come back to 1C2. Like that, you can't answer. If you're answering question number 1, ensure A, B, C of question number 1 is done in one place. That means one place, matlab one after the other. So don't try to jumble it up. See, you have a choice of main questions. You want to start with question number 3 first? Please start with question number 3, no problem. You want to start with question number 5 first? Please start with question number 5, no problem. But once you have taken up question number 3, ensure in 3, A, B, C, everything you complete it there only. No, sir, I knew A, sir, I did not know B. So can I leave it blank and later on I'll come back? How you do that? You can later on come back and fill it up, or if you still don't get it, and finally ensure it is struck off from the sheet. So what do you mean strike off from the sheet? Here, if you see here, the next one you will understand from here. So if you see here, before submission of answer book to the invigilator after completing the exam, take care to score out the blank pages which you have left. So never just leave the blank pages just like that. Let's say your answer got completed and the last 4 or 5 lines were left there. Just strike it off, those 4 or 5 lines, so that there is no more malpractice that can happen. So these are all important instructions to take care. And see, some of you may be very holy people. You know what I mean by very holy people? All God-loving people. Yeah, very nice, very good. I'm very happy if you're God-loving people. Very, very happy for you. But you need to understand, God-loving people, good. वो यहाँ रहना चाहिए और यहाँ रहना चाहिए. Keep it in your heart. Keep it here. Don't write it on the paper. Don't write on the question paper or on your answer paper. Or Allahu Akbar. Sai Baba. Govinda, Govinda, Yedukundalavada, all like that. Yeah, Swami Sharanamayyappa. Please don't write anything on those papers. We know you're a very God-loving person, but it is not allowed. Please read this here. You're not supposed to use Om, Shri, Jesus, 786. This will all tantamount to adoption of unfair means. So C and Institute can decide not to correct your paper if you write any of these things. So therefore, your roll number also you should not write anywhere else. Remember this, roll number also should be written only in that one place where they've asked you to write. Nowhere else you write the roll number also. At the same time, extra, please don't write anything extra in the paper. I think you've understood the basic instructions what I've given you. I am using red because as an evaluator, I'm supposed to use red, but you are supposed to use here. If you see here, what? Black or blue is what you will use. Okay. So now let me start straight away with the CA intermediate law paper. Now, as far as the law paper is concerned, it's called as corporate and other laws. That is the name of the paper. Now, as far as corporate and other laws is concerned, it's a 60-40 paper, 60 marks on corporate law and 40 marks on other laws. Now, my job here is to tell you how to write the answers. That's the intention of this session. So please have a look at this. Very important to remember this. Marks is never a criteria for length of the answer. Acha, very important to remember this. Because I can understand many of you who are coming from the university background. Sir, kya bola sir? You're done with your PUC, 11th and 12th. or with degree university examinations. There you would have got so used to writing papers wherein you will say, if it is 2 marks, itna likhenge. If it is 5 marks, itna likhenge. You know, the 2 sides likhenge. If it is 8 marks, itna, full 3-4 sheets likhenge. If it is 14 marks, then all my neighbors' answer sheets also I will grab from everybody and write full itna likhenge, and we'll do on binding so that next Constitution of India, this will become bigger than the Constitution of India itself. Like that and all, don't write answers. See how you wrote answers for your pre-university 11th and 12th or your BCom or for your universities there, that you continue to write however you're writing. So there we are supposed to fill up pages, so please karo my pe. But don't do that in CA. In CA, never fill up pages after pages. In CA, you have to remember the way you write your answer is not based on the marks. Sir, what do you mean it's not based on the marks? Some questions, some questions, yeah, if you see in the CA examination, same question would have come for 8 marks. Next it will come for 4 marks. Next it will come for 6 marks. Exactly same question. And if you see the CA Institute answer, exactly same answer. Right? Same answer, sometimes 4 marks, sometimes 6 marks, sometimes 8 marks. इसका मतलब क्या है? मतलब CA Institute is not interested to increase or decrease the answer based on the marks. Then how should you write your answer? So please listen to what I'm saying now. Your answer should not be based on marks. Your answer should be based on the question. For that question, whatever is the answer, you write the answer. Don't worry whether it was for 3 marks, 5 marks, 6 marks. Because some of you, you know what, you'll be wondering, so it's a 4 marks question, sir, and you're telling me write 4 points. If it is 4 points, you'll write 4 points only. Why will you write 40 points for that? Yeah, you start talking about some Shah Rukh Khan story and all in that. Don't write all the stories. If 4 points are there, write 4 points. Even if the same question comes for 2 marks, 4 marks, 8 marks, I don't care. For that question, this is the answer. That's all is the answer you should write. I think you've understood what I'm saying. Now, there are 2 types of questions in law. One is called theory questions. For theory questions, write answers in point format. So don't write stories full, paragraphs we'll not understand only, we'll not even feel like giving you marks. So please don't spoil the mood of the evaluator. Ensure you write it in point form. If you write it in point form, based on the points you have written, it's easy for us to give you marks. So otherwise, you know what you will do? You will write full story and you're forcing us to read your entire paragraph. I don't have so much time to read full paragraph. Okay? And I'll have to search in the paragraph. See, listen. See, the mentality of an examiner is like this. You need to understand the psychology of the examiner also. He has got a lot of papers to correct. He's got a lot of things to do. Now, if you give him a paragraph, you know how the mind works. When if you're forcing me to read the full paragraph, so I'll be reading full paragraph, like, this is wrong. No, this is nonsense. Hey, what nonsense is this? No, this is not correct. So I'll be so used to making all wrong, bol ke, by telling this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Overall, when you see your answer, I can only see all wrong. Finished. You will not get marks only. Whereas if you have written it in point form, I'll say first point, oh, very good, correct. Second point, we have underlined also some important keywords, right? Keywords you would have underlined. I'll see the keyword, oh, very good. I would have not read the full story at all. Sometimes as an examiner, we will not read the full point. I'll see the keywords. In the main point, you've written, good, yeah, correct. So I'm only seeing correct. Then I know I can give you more marks. I think you understood the psychology of an examiner. So write it in point formats, highlight the keywords. That's important for you. That is for theory papers. So therefore, one is that, and one more you can write here as highlight keywords. Highlight keywords. Whatever keywords are there, you can highlight the keywords also. This is the second point for you to remember. Okay. Now come to practical questions. Now, as this was theory questions, for practical questions, it has to be a 3-paragraph answer. So you have to take care of PFC. They're not KFC. I'm talking. It's not talking about KFC. I'm telling PFC. But still, it's easy to remember. Right? Don't think about KFC. Think about PFC. So all your practical questions, ensure you follow PFC style. Sir, what is this PFC? Paragraph 1 should be on provision of law. P is for provision of law. F is for facts of the case, and C is for conclusion. I will show you practically how these questions are there and how answers have to be written. Chalo shuru karte hain. Now that you have understood this, right? I think you're very clear on this. Now let me quickly tell you how it would come. Now I'll give you a practical understanding of how to answer them and how students have given it in the exams. Look at this. Now this was one of the examination questions for totally 4 marks. 2 marks first part. This was in B, and in B they had 1 and 2. Both were for 2 marks. This was a 2 marks question. Look at the question asked. Modem Jewelry Limited decides to pay 5% of the issue price gap of shares as underwriting commission. Achha. So they want to give 5% underwriting commission to the underwriters, but the articles of the company authorize only 4%. So articles is telling we are allowed to give only 4%, but they have decided to give 5%. Examine the validity of the above decision. Now I'll tell you how students would normally write. Yeah, they will say no, 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 or they will say yes, of course, why not, obviously. Now don't start your answer by writing yes, of course, no, no, obviously. Don't write like that. Don't start with the conclusion. I told you PFC, provision of law, facts of the case, conclusion. But sir, ये तो 2 mark है. Even for the 2 marks, you have to write provision of law, facts of the case, and conclusion. Achha. Yes, you have to write all the 3. You have to write. Similarly, there is one more question. See, all the answer, you know it. Answer is what? You know that you can't give 5% because articles is giving 4% only. But you can simply write yes, no, of course. Yeah, don't write like that. One more, 2 marks question. PQ Limited declared and paid 10% dividends to all its shareholders except Mr. Kumar, holding 500 equity shares, who instructed the company to deposit the dividend amount directly into his bank account. Company accordingly remitted the dividends, but the bank returned the payment on the ground that the account number as given by Kumar doesn't tally with the records of the bank. The company, however, did not inform Kumar. They did not inform Kumar about this discrepancy. Comment on this issue with reference to the provisions regarding failure to distribute dividends. Again, 2 marks question. Again, if you see, both were practical questions. You are supposed to write provision of law, facts of the case, and conclusion. But sir, 2 mark hai, 2 mark hai, 4 mark hai, 8 mark hai. I told you, marks is not the criteria. Practical questions, it should be. Okay, let's see how students wrote and how whether they got the marks or not. First one was 2 marks. Let's see how for 2 marks whether they got the 2 marks. Here, if you see one of the students, how the student had written the answer, right, and see how the examiner gave the marks also. This is one of the answers of a student which was corrected by the CA Institute, and here if you see, Institute gave, that means the examiner gave full 2 marks. Examiner gave full 2 marks. On what basis examiner gave full 2 marks? Let's see whether the student has written all the 3 what I asked you. Number 1, as per the provisions of Companies Act, company can pay maximum 5% commission on face value of the shares issued or subscribed, or percentage of underwriting commission in the articles of association company, whichever is lower. So that means he has written about articles and he has written about maximum 5% and he has written whichever is lower. That means here in this paragraph he has written about provision of law. Then he has written in the instant case company wants to give 5%. So that means he has written about facts. And then it is a violation of the act, and the company can issue only so and so percent as underwriting commission. Of course, all this CA Institute would have blocked a few things when we take the answer from the institute. So these things, please manage it. These things and all, they have blocked it as because when they give this numbering and all that, they would have used a system. And in that system, sometimes when they give you the scanned copies of the paper, certain things may get blocked. Here is the conclusion. So if you observe and see, the student, although it was just a 2 marks question, he wrote provision of law, facts of the case, and conclusion. But sir, here you're telling there is 3 marks. No, 3 marks is for the entire 1B. 1B had 1 and 2. Entire 1B had 1 and 2. Now listen again. I told you in the beginning, in the fresh page, at top you have to write the question number. This is what I meant by writing the question number. So clearly write the question number, and in that question number 1B, this was the first part you're trying to answer, which was for 2 marks. For entire 1B, although it was totally 4 marks, he got 3 marks. That means in this next question he lost 1 mark. I'll tell you that also how he lost. But did you understand how he got full 2 marks here? Provision of law, facts of the case, and conclusion. To make it even more better, I will advise you like this. When you start the first paragraph, write the heading as provision of law. Provision of law. Write one heading called provision of law, underline that, and then write the first paragraph. When you're writing second paragraph, write it as facts of the case. Facts of the case. Write one heading calling it as facts of the case, and then write it. Then you write conclusion. and then you write the conclusion what you want to give. Like this, if you write the heading also, rather than me having to assume, acha, ye provision of law hai kya? Acha, ye facts hai kya? Acha, ye conclusion. So you are now making me think about which is provision, which is facts, and which is conclusion. Instead, you may as well put headings: provision of law, facts of the case, and conclusion. So PFC, excuse me, no more KFC. It's all PFC from now on. Okay, for us it's always PFC. I think you understood PFC now. Now, if you see this, because student wrote everything, he got full marks. He got what? Full marks. Now, although he has made some mistakes, now listen again. Huh? Although he might have made some mistakes, he still has somehow got over it. I'll tell you what mistake he has actually done in this answer. If you see here, he has written 5% of face value. No, it is not 5% of face value. Actually, it is supposed to be 5% of issue price. 5% of issue price. So as per the provision of law, you're supposed to make it as 5% of issue price, but he has written as face value. But the examiner has overlooked that aspect because overall, he seems to have understood that one is called 5% and one is called articles, whichever is lower. See, this is what I meant when you're writing an answer. If you write it in the paragraphs and if you start underlining and highlighting the important parts there, if you underline this and say maximum 5%, here you say as per articles and you say whichever is lower. See, the student has actually underlined this and written it in capital, whichever is lower. So examiner automatically will not sit and see every word. Utna time nahi hai. So even if one or two words have gone wrong, he might overlook at it. Otherwise, actually, he would have deducted half mark for this. I think you're understanding what I'm saying. Right? You understood how to write this answer. Sir, thank you so much, sir. This has helped us a lot to understand how to write. I think now there is a lot of clarity for you to understand how to write an answer. I'm sure you'll be happy with this entire presentation, what I'm giving you here, so that you'll get full clarity of how to write answers. So, ye to pakka answer ho gaya. There was second part of the question. If you see, I told you got totally 3 marks. See, this is what we studied in our notes. So my students, such of those who have been my students, this is what I taught you. And you would have had this chart in your notes. I'm sure all of you would have taken down this chart in your notes, wherein we studied about underwriting commission. We said maximum underwriting commission would be either 5% of the issue price or as per the AOA, whichever is less. Now that's all is the question. So this was the provision of law, what they're asking you to write when it comes to payment of underwriting commission. So if you write one extra sentence saying that underwriting commission, right, underwriting means an agreement to subscribe. If public do not subscribe to the securities offered to them, underwriters are registered with SEBI and are financially strong, because sometimes in exam they'll ask you who is an underwriter. So then you may have to write that extra dialogue. Here, even if you write it is good. If you write, I would be more happy if you write one more sentence. First in the provision of law, tell this, itna bol dena pehle, ki this is the provision of law. And then give the facts of the case and then give the conclusion. It will be more better. I think you understood this, and this we have already discussed. My students, you already know it. We have done these charts, and if you know this chart, you'll know everything about underwriting commission, right? I have taught you in such a way that by knowing the charts, you will know the entire topic itself. Okay, so let's come to the next one. Here, what was the second part of the question? Remember, he had given bank account, it was wrong, and therefore it went back and he never informed the company. This was again a 2-mark question, but he got only 1 mark. Why he got only 1 mark? If you see, his written provision of law, facts of the case, and again conclusion. So wo to kiya hai, PFC has taken care. That's why he got that 1 mark. But where he made a mistake was this provision of law is wrong. Here to mistake ho gaya. Matlab kya? As per provisions of Companies Act, payment of dividend to shareholders shall be considered as discrepancy when the management or board of directors committed intentional fraud or default. The question was nothing to do with fraud, default, kuch bhi nahi tha question pe. So therefore this became the wrong provision of law what he wrote. But then his facts of the case and conclusion was correct. What do you mean? Saying that the details of bank account was not correct, so bank refunded it. And then conclusion, look at this conclusion. He says company shall inform to its members PQ Limited, not if PQ Limited has not informed. Look, he has underlined also. Can you see that? He has underlined saying if they have not informed, to Kumar, it may be considered as a discrepancy. You see, he has given the correct conclusion. He has written the facts. That's why he still got 1 mark. So out of 2 marks, he still got 1 mark. So where did he lose? He lost writing the provision of law correctly. Had he written the provision of law also correctly, he would have got 1 more mark, and therefore he would have got full 2 marks. Sir, what was the provision of law he should have written? This. My students would be knowing this. This also I gave it to you in our notes. Those who have this chart, you know it, you can refer to your chart in your notes. Wherein, when you write in provision of law, you'll have to say, general rule, you have to make payment within 30 days. You have to make payment within 30 days. And then you say exceptions. Exception, there is no violation even if it is not paid in 30 days. And one of the exceptions is this exception. This is what you have to write in provision of law. Saying you should have paid in 30 days. Yeah. Normally it's a violation if you don't pay in 30 days, but there will not be a violation if it is, even if it is not paid in 30 days. If you can prove this one of these points, what is that point? Directions cannot be complied with. Look at that. In his case, he had given some bank account and I could not comply with that. And communicated, you see, and you should have communicated to the member that, look, it has come back to me, therefore give me a different bank account or whatever. So this much of provision of law he did not write. Agar itna likh deta that you have to pay in 30 days. Yeah, there's an exception, and here is the exception. Itna, if you have written the provision of law, then you would have got this mark also. See, you need to understand again. It is not about 2 marks or 4 marks. Same question in the next exam will come for 4 marks, 6 marks. Exactly same question aega. So your answers cannot change based on marks. That is what I'm trying to explain to you. I think you are clear. Ah, sir, we are clear. Very good. Ye bhi samajh mein aa gaya na, how to write answer. So see, this chart also helped you to understand. Sometimes in the exam they ask you what are all the grounds on which it's not a violation. I've given you 5 grounds. Right? This chart will tell you everything about that part. Then look at this question. This was 4 marks question. Okay, let's read this 4 marks the question. Yeah, this was in question number 4. If you see here, one 4 marks question and here one 4 marks question. First 4 marks question is a practical question. And this one is a theory question. I told you, I'll teach you both how to write the practical aspects also and theoretical aspect also. I think by now you're comfortable writing the practical answers. Again, let's read the question and see whether we can answer it in the right way. XYZ company at general meeting of members of the company passes an ordinary resolution to buy back 30% of its capital. Now, first of all, you know, ordinary resolution is not allowed. It should have been a special resolution. We popularly, my students would be knowing it. We generally call it a GMSR. GMSR ka matlab general meeting mein special resolution. And then, you know, 30% itself is a wrong one. You can't go for 30% because even with a special resolution, maximum you can go is only for 25%. Then the articles of the company empowers the company for buyback. Very good. Articles has to empower this. Company further decides that the payment for buyback will be made out of proceeds of company's earlier issue. Ye bhi galat hai. You can't use the earlier issue at all. And stating the sources through which the buyback of own shares can be executed. Examine whether company's proposal is in order. See, I'll tell you where students make a mistake. They will read the question. They have understood the subject. So they will write that whether company's proposal is in order. They'll write the answer. No, get lost. All wrong. No, chance hai illa. Yeah, obviously wrong. No way, is impossible. What do you mean? Don't write like that. Aisa nahi likhe. Answer to no hai. But when you write it, you'll have to write it in PFC. You know what I mean by PFC by now. Right? And would your answers be still the same? In case the company instead of 30% decides to buy back 20%? See, still, you know, even if it is 20%, it should have been GMSR. GMSR, and with an ordinary resolution you can't buy back 20%. So either way it is no. But how to write this 4 marks answer, I'll teach you. I will teach you. I'll show it to you practically how students have written, and if they're written correctly, they would have got full marks. Here, next, one more theory question was there. When is a company required to issue a shelf prospectus? Explain the law relating to issue and filing of such a prospectus. Pure theory question. They're just asking to write some notes on self. Actually, it is not supposed to be called self prospectus. It's called shelf prospectus. So this is a mistake here only. It's called shelf prospectus. That is the correct spelling of it. Right? So look at this. So one practical question and one theory question. First, let's go to the practical question. 4 marks ka question. Ek 4 marks, dusra bhi 4 marks. This student who wrote the answer, let's see whether the student has written correctly. Let's see. Come. If you see, this was the answer written by the student, and this is the scanned copy from the institute. If you see that, this is first part what I like. That means the student has written right at the top of the fresh sheet. He has written there. This is actually the perforated wording which is ICAI. This would have been ICAI. It should have been perforated there. Yeah, ICAI. All that will be there as a marking on the answer sheet. So right on top, he has written there question number 4A. In that, he's trying to answer the first one. So therefore, I'm very happy that the student has started the answer correctly. So he has started the answer correctly. No doubt about it. Very good. Now look how he has written the answer. Let's start. Section 68 of the Act authorizes a company to do buyback of its own securities. Now, you can, that so beautifully is written, because in the question that asked about buyback, he simply straight away did not jump to the answer. See, they use the words about sources through which buyback can be done. Now, he has seen that word sources and all was there. That is why when he started the answer, he started by telling there are 3 sources for buyback. Look at that, so beautiful. This is exactly how you should write the answer. All of you listen, please. Listen. I'll tell you what happens for a student when you are writing the exam. You will read the question and you'll be so much overwhelmed with the question कि हाँ मुझे answer मालूम है 30% नहीं होगा no. Don't jump. You know how your mind should work. When you're starting your answer, you say provision of law. Provision of law is as good as writing some short note answer on buyback. ऐसे सोचो. As if you're writing one short note answer on buyback. So you tell me, if I ask you to write one short note answer on buyback, so in provisions, what you should write, you should say the sources of funds can be 3 sources. Then the percentage can be so and so. That is how you write the answer for first short note. So look so beautifully, the student has written, yeah, that you can do buyback out of securities premium account, or you can do out of free reserves, or it can be from proceeds. Now, what is, again, if you see here in this answer also, I told you that most of the times the examiner may overlook your mistakes. If you see, there was a mistake here also. What was the mistake he has done here? If you see the mistake he has done here, he has written proceeds of earlier issue. Actually, you cannot use proceeds of earlier issue. The answer should be from the proceeds of and of other than the earlier issue. You see, it should be other than the earlier issue. Other earlier issues could not be used. But I'll tell you still how come he did not lose marks. He did not lose marks because he very clearly told it should be authorized by articles, and examiner was happy that he has written 3 sources, and he has written that it has to be a special resolution. You see, he has written all these dialogues, and again here there was a mistake that he has written 1/10. 1/10 actually is wrong, because if it is less than 1/10, of course he has written not less than 10%, therefore it's a correct answer, right? Because he's written the words not less than 10%. That is very good. So therefore, this provision of law seems to be okay. And here maximum buyback allowed is only 25%. So all these dialogues he has written very well. And therefore, examiner has now overlooked the other aspect that here in between you missed something. Yeah, this is one part. This was about the provision of law. Okay, look at that. Next paragraph. He has written facts of the case. So you see, can you see everywhere students who have written like this correctly? One, this was provision of law. Here, he has written the facts of the case. He has written the facts of the case, and here he is given the conclusion. You see? So facts of the case. In the given case, if you see, the company has passed ordinary resolution, yeah, then 30% is what they want to do. This is facts. Then, now he is giving the conclusion. He's telling, hence it was clear that the company's proposal was not according to the provisions of the Companies Act. However, such a buyback, see, he's not simply telling no, wrong. He's also trying to give you the exact answer. So in the conclusion, he's also writing, however, such a buyback of shares will not be valid even though it was 20%, because there was a second part of the question, no? 20% as the required resolution was not passed and the ordinary resolution was passed. The ordinary resolution is not enough for your 20%. He got full 4 marks. Can you see this? He got pura 4 marks. Pura 4 marks aa gaya yahan pe. This is an old paper. That is why you don't have the latest style of computerized. You know, in the first one, what I showed you was a new paper, 2019 ka paper. This is somewhere about 2015-16 ka paper. I think 16 it must be. So at that time, that computerized way of writing the marks was not there. So the student, you know, the examiner used to write it by hand only. So 4 marks, full 4 marks the student got. You see, full 4 marks. Aa gaya, pura 4 marks aa gaya. And this is exactly what I had taught my students also. My dear students, if you remember the charts what I gave you, one, was on sources of funds. Sources of funds can be from free reserves, securities premium, and proceeds of fresh issue. And you have to write proceeds of earlier issue cannot be used. Proceeds of earlier issue cannot be used. Right? So that dialogue you should write when you write provisions of law. And then conditions for buyback. If you remember this chart also, my dear friends, yeah, AOA is there, resolutions, and in the resolutions up to 10% you'll go for board resolution, whereas more than 10% to 25% you can go for GMSR and filing MGT 14. And of course other conditions like it should be fully paid, and if it's listed you'll follow SEBI. Now that's all is what we have to write as an answer. So this chart will give you the full answer. Pura 4 marks aa jayega yahan pe. I think you're clear. And there, although the student had made 1 or 2 mistakes, he was lucky that he got over, right? But normally it doesn't happen that way. So if I see, if at all my eyes would have gone on that mistake, probably he would have lost a half mark or 1 mark for that mistake. But then overall, I think you understood how to present the answer. Hai na? One more 4 marks question was there on shelf prospectus. Now let's see theory. Theory, I told you simply write point form. See this student, what the student has done. Neatly the student has written it in point form. So the student knew that if he writes 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll get confused with the question number. So इसलिए इसने क्या किया? Arrow mark डाल दिया. So instead of writing question numbers, he simply put arrow marks. It's okay, doesn't matter. It is still in point format. Student has written section 31 deals with shelf prospectus. He has written the correct spelling. So I was happy that in the examination question it was self prospectus. The student has correctly written it as shelf prospectus. Now 4 marks ka question tha na. The student wrote only 4 points and full 4 marks the student got. Look, the examiner gave him full 4 marks. Why? Utna hi likhna hai shelf prospectus ke liye. Look, straight away theory answer. Section 31 of the Companies Act deals with shelf prospectus. 1, it says for more than one time. You see, when you're making an offer to the general public for more than one time. So first point is written correctly that for more than one issue, if you're using it, then you use a shelf prospectus. First point likh liya, 1 point likh liya. Second point, he has written saying that for any number of shares which are specified there, for any number of times within a period of 1 year, you see, for any number of times you can keep on issuing for a period of 1 year. So second point is written that it has a life of 1 year. Very good. Third point is written that you have to give an information memorandum. Yeah, that you have to give an information memorandum for the changes. And finally, he says all this will have to be filed. This only is the prospectus. That only is a shelf prospectus which you file it with ROC. Only 4 points the student wrote, and he got full 4 points. Of course, this examiner seems to be quite lenient in giving the marks, but then still the student has got full 4 marks because the main 4 points. So you need to think from examiner's point of view. See what happens for us when we correct the papers now as an examiner. Institute would have told if the student has written this points, for this point give him 1 mark, this point to give him 1 mark, this ke liye 1 mark, this ke liye 1 mark, and the examiner will only see ye point hai kya hai to mark de do. That is why I told you have to highlight the keywords so that when we see the keywords you will easily get your marks. You see he got full 8 marks. Whosoever the student was, the student got full 8 marks. An examiner has overlooked 1 or 2 mistakes. Otherwise, he still got 7 marks. And in our notes, how did we study for shelf prospectus? Now, this is what I gave you about prospectus in our notes. Now, my students will know it. This is what is the chart I gave you, and you would have had it in your notes. This chart will be there with you. Wherein prospectus section 2(70) said inviting offers from public. And we said there are 4 types of prospectus. This is what we discussed. How many types? 4 types. You don't have to write in the exam all 4 because for a pure theory question, you just have to write about section 31, which was shelf prospectus. If you see that I've given only 4 points. First, write 4 points which the student did. Write the correct 4 points. Ho gaya. 4 points likh liya. 4 marks aa gaya. Sir, itna hi hai kya? Itna hi hai. Utna hi. That's all is what you have to write. And exactly, I don't have to repeat again. Student has written it. Write the 4 points. You'll get your full marks. I think you're clear about how to write for a theory question also. Pura marks aa gaya. So you see, it was just 4 points and the students have neatly written those 4 points. But the only point I want you to remember is, don't write it like on Kanjus. Like as if some ant is going, write it neatly, legibly. That's what in the beginning in the instruction they told. Bada, bada, neatly, legibly. Observe how the student wrote. Look, although the student has written only 4 points, just observe the style of writing for the student. Dekho. ठीक तरफ से देखो. See, so neatly for every point the student has left one spacing of one line. Can you see here also, there is a left indentation left. Can you see? Yeah, for every point there's some indentation left here. Yeah, and if you see the spacing, how the student has written the answer, there's enough of space created. Yeah, and he has not clustered the answer. He has left a gap between one and the next point. Can you see that gap bhi choda hai? That is how you should write answers. It should, don't make it clumsy. I told you, answer sheet CA Institute दे रहा है ना, ले लो, neatly write. Hey, उसका मतलब don't write one word in one line. ये nonsense. That way don't go exaggerated also. But I'm telling it should be easy for us to appreciate. So even if the student's handwriting may not be great, but at least the student has neatly given spacing so that there's no strain for us as an examiner. I think you've understood this answer also. And the student got full 4 marks. And finally, the student has written only 4 points. That's all. No provision of law, facts of the case, conclusion, kuch nahi hai, because theory question. Theory question ke liye, you just have to write those 4 points. I think you've understood this also. Excellent. Now I think you're getting it. I think you've got the full logic of how to write answers. Now I'll tell you one more. Yeah. Here, this was a 3 marks question. And the next one was a 2 marks question. Let's read this question. Alex Limited is facing loss in business during the financial year. In the immediate preceding 3 financial years, company had declared dividends at the rate of 7, 11, 12 respectively. Respectively means maryade kottu. Respect. Maryade kottu respectively, they had declared 7, 11, 12. Board of directors have decided to declare 12% interim dividends. Achha, they want to give interim dividends. Although they are facing losses. Achha. And they want to give it to be in par with the immediately preceding year. That means they want to give 12%. Immediately preceding year was 12%. So is the act of board of directors valid? Now those who have studied dividends chapter, if you're under loss, interim dividends, the rate cannot exceed average of last 3. Now last 3 average is not 12%. So actually board of directors action is wrong. So straight away in the exam, we can't say no, not possible, get out. 3 marks kaun dega? It has to be 3 paragraph answer. Similarly, one more question. Directors of East West Limited proposed dividends at 15%. Okay. The same was approved in the AGM, which was held on 24th October. Very good. AGM was held. Then Binoy was the holder of 2,000 equity shares on 31st March, but he transferred the shares to Mohan, whose name was registered on 18th June itself. See, company's AGM was held on 24th October. So that means by the record date, Mohan was already the shareholder. Isn't it? Although it belongs to 31st March 2018, you don't go by 31st March, you go by on the closing of register. So who will be entitled to dividends? We know it is Mohan. See, answer to malum hai. You can't simply write one line, Mohan. That's all. Ek bar bol diya, so bol diya. In exam, you can't write like that one word. Yeah, who is entitled to dividends? You write there, Mohan. Ek bar bol diya, so bol diya. Ne okkasari commit aite namat nene vinnu. Now, oru vatti sonna, nooru vatti solra madri. Like that and all, you can't write answers in the exam one line and say, okay, bol diya na, 3 paragraph answers. So let's answer both of them. And we'll also now try and see what mistakes the student did. 3 marks and 2 marks. Na? See here. Abhi aa raha hai. For 3 marks, the student got only 2 marks for this question. Kitna marks mila student ko? The student got only 2 marks. Nahi sir, 3 likha hai. Nahi, 3 is for the entire 3B. That means out of 5, student got 3 out of 5. That's what I meant. Yeah, 3 out of 5 is what the student has got. So for this question, the student got only 2 marks. Again, if you can see the style of which the marks have been put there, it's a new answer sheets. These are all 2019 ka answer sheet of some student. Right? So these kind of marking if they put, that means these are all new corrections. That was the old corrections. So look how the student has written. Now 3 marks per question, student got only 2. Let us find out what was the mistake. Let's see whether we can add that extra point. Let's start. As per the provisions of the Act, if company suffers loss in current year and company wants to declare dividends to shareholders, it shall not exceed the average price of the last 3 preceding years. Very good. Very correctly the student has written provision of law. But in the provision of law, you can't straight away write like this. Na? See, I told you. It is like writing short notes on interim dividend. How should you write your short notes on interim dividend? One. The way you will say is interim dividend is given by board of directors between 2 AGMs. Aisa shuru karna hai na. Then you have to supposed to say dividends are declared out of profits. So wo bolna hai na pehle. The dividends are supposed to be declared out of profits. But as an exception, even if there's a loss until the preceding quarter before declaring dividends, you can still, as an exception, declare. Like that, you should have written provision of law. This is the only point which the student did not write and therefore lost the marks. So I'm trying to teach you what student wrote, at the same time what you should have written extra. I think you've understood. So one point was missing. Because that one point was missing, so this provision of law is half correct. So he should have written that extra point here. What is that point? Saying that it is out of profits of the company, yeah, and only as an exception. So aisa sabhi likhna chahiye tha, right? If you had written that, you would have got that extra 1 mark also. Then here he has written facts of the case, no problem. And then he has written the correct conclusion also, that you can't simply declare 12%. Sabhi correct se likha hai. वो सभी correct है. For that he got 2 marks. He lost 1 mark. So I'm trying to tell you where to get that 1 mark also and make it 3 marks full. अभी आ गए ना? हाँ sir, sir. Now we are very clear, sir. I think you understood provision of law, facts of the case, conclusion. And if you see a simple answer, एक ही पेज में लिख दिया, हो गया. Answer over now. 3 paragraphs he wrote. I told you if I was the student, I would have written the headings also. I would have written here neatly provision of law. That is what I would have done. I would have neatly written provision of law. Here I would have written facts of the case. Then I would have written here conclusion. Oh, good. The student has written conclusion. This one point at least is written correctly there, saying conclusion. So it's always good to write like that. Provision of law, facts of the case, conclusion. I think now you're getting it. Sir, abhi to pura aa gaya, sir. Thank you so much. So I also told you where he lost that mark. Here. My students would know this because I would have given you this chart in your notes. You would have had this chart in your notes. And you know, whenever we talk about interim dividends, it is proposed and declared by board of directors by board resolution, and the rate of dividend is always subject to section 123(3), and that 123(3) is here. We said it should be out of current year profits only. And then you create an exception and say, in case of loss in the current year, till the end of the quarter preceding the declaration, dividends cannot exceed the last 3 years average rate of dividends. Now this was an exception. Isn't it? This is what I taught you when I taught you about all this. So if you had written this extra dialogue, that it is declared between 2 AGMs, he would have got full marks. Utna hi loss hua hai. 1 mark he lost it because he didn't put that details correctly. Right? Ho gaya sir. Very good. Then the other part of the question. What was the other part of the question? That Mohan, remember Mohan? Yeah, there he got only 1 mark. Now, where did he lose the mark? Let's see where he lost the mark. Let's start. As per the Companies Act, company shall make payment of dividends to its shareholders within 30 days from the date of declaration. Now, who asked this? This is a wrong provision of law. So, provision of law, but it's a wrong provision of law. I didn't ask about you have to pay 30 days. You have to only write that it will be given to that shareholder whose name appears in ROM on record date. Whosoever name appears in ROM on the record date, that is on closure of register. Close of register. So you should have written that. So if the student had written the provision of law correctly, you would have got the mark. And then of course in the instant case, Binoy transferred shares. This was the facts of the case. And then he is given the conclusion here telling that Mohan is entitled to the dividends. So because he wrote the conclusion correctly, he still got 1 mark. But because provision of law was wrong, therefore he lost that mark there. I think, see, now I'm trying to teach you. See, I don't know if you have observed. I'm trying to teach you how some students got full marks, what all they wrote, and I'm trying to teach you how some students never got full marks and what was missing in their answers. Everything I'm trying to teach you in this part. Hope it is being useful for you. I put in a lot of efforts to collect all these things for your sake, aapke liye, right? So that it will help you to analyze and write the answers better in the exams. And this is what I had given you in my notes on section 123. Now, this is the only dialogue the student had to write extra in provision of law. It will be paid to the registered shareholder on the date of declaration, that is record date. So it's got nothing to do with 31st March and all. It is based on the date of declaration as on the record date, you see. That's all is the dialogue the student had to write. Only this one for the provision of law. He would have got extra mark for that and he would have got the full marks. I think you've understood this also. Awesome, Ray. I think now you're clear about how to write answers for law. So, ye to ho gaya, is taraf. law का तो हो गया ना. I told you two things. One side I have written law and one side I have written tax. Can you see one side law and one side tax? हाँ. So आपको अभी law हो गया. Now I have to tell you about tax for our CA examinations. So I think now you are very clear how to write law answers. Very clear. I have practically shown you. I've shown you the exam questions with the marks, how students have written the answer, which was the correct answers, which was the wrong answers, where they got full marks, where they got less marks. Theory also I've told you how to write. Practical also I've taught you how to write. I think now it's very clear how to write law answers. I know this is going to help you a lot. Please share it with all your friends also so that it will be useful for everybody. Don't be a conjure and keep it for yourself, okay? Now let me teach you how to write answers in tax. Chalo, let's move on to tax now. Let me teach you on how to write for tax. Chalo, we'll go to tax now. Now, as far as taxation is concerned, you'll get some bada questions in taxation, okay? Bada questions. Now, this was a question of, I think, 2016 examination, yeah? Somewhere in 2015-16. Therefore, all these provisions of law, if you see, would be for year ending 31st March 2015, because this exam was somewhere in 15 or 16 somewhere. So therefore, these provisions of law, if you see, they're asking to solve for assessment year 15-16. So don't go by, the provisions which were there. We will try and understand for our latest year. We are in 2020. We'll understand it from 2020 point of view only. Okay? If you see the question, they gave some salary details. They've given some HRA details. And that was a truck which was used. Yeah, the person was using for business, and books of accounts were not maintained. This will come under 44AE. So that means here you've got salary incomes. So here there is salary with HRA. Then here you've got business income. Then here you've got some IFOS, income from other sources, some post office income, yeah, some interest from company deposits, some national savings scheme ka interest mila hai. All these money details they've given. Then in the expenses, they've given some information here, saying interest payable to bank at 1,000 per month on loan for a purchase of truck. See, if you're coming under 44AE, all expenses are not allowed, because you take what is called as presumptive income, isn't it? So when you take presumptive income, so there's no question of expense. So expenses and all are ignored, isn't it? We ignore all the expense. Then total interest paid to bank for loan for investing in company deposit. This is definitely allowed. Those who remember, section 56 was the charging section for income from other sources. Section 57 talked about admissible expenses. 58 talked about inadmissible expenses. And here we're talking about admissible expenses under section 57. Section 57, any expenditure incurred for earning the income. My students would be aware of this. Remember, we discussed about the Rajendra Prasad Modi's case. Although from exam point of view, case laws are not required for intermediate for taxation. Achha? For taxation ke liye, not required, but still we did discuss saying that you can show loss also in other sources. Remember, every head of income can have a loss except salary. Yad was very good. Good. So we have studied all that. So here you can claim that. And rent paid for residence, this is for your HRA calculation. HRA working note ke liye chahiye. And tuition fees, all this will come under 80C. Of course, it's only for a maximum of 2 children. Whereas here there's 3 children, you give only for 2 children. You select the highest so that that highest can be given as a 80C deduction. Then there's some medical insurance premium. Medical insurance premium and all, comes under 80D. 80D. And then she has deposited during the year 5-year post office recurring deposit. No, recurring deposit, no deduction. No deduction, because 80C will give you only for a 5-year FD or a time deposit, not for an RD. Recurring deposit is something which you keep on investing little. See, this is a 10 marks question. Kitna marks? 10 marks question. How should you write an answer? Now let me teach you about in tax how to write answer and how does the examiner give you marks. Okay? This is something which many students have a confusion. Students think in taxation, if my final answer is wrong, sab kuch gaya. Are yaar, in this full problem what I've shown you here, there are so many things in this problem. Salary is there, business profession is there, IFAS is there, chapter 6A deductions are there. And if you say only final answer ke liye, labo, all students will fail then. That is not how students are given marks. Now I'll teach you how marks are allocated in the exam. Now you will like this because this will help you to understand how you will get your marks and therefore how you should attempt your answers. First thing is, if you see here, of course this was for 15-16, the student has written the answer. If you see, so neatly the student has put one inner column and outer column. Can you see that? One inner column and one outer column has been written. And then if you see, the student has neatly started with income from salaries. Now this is the first step for you to remember. And write it neatly. Can you see the student has left gap also? Neatly the student has written and left a little gap. See, if you see here, for writing this much, the examiner has given half mark. For writing that the HRA has got an exemption under 1013A with working note, examiner gave him half mark. For writing that you have got education allowance and you can claim exemption under section 10 bracket 14 for 100 rupees into 2 for, for 2 children for 12 months, half mark. Can you see this? So beautifully, this person has got. So if you see in the question here, all of you, so if you see in the question here, the question says he also got education allowance of 1,500 per month for all the 3 of her children. Now she got education allowance for all the 3 children. Now the question is not very clear. Is it 1,500 for all 3 or is it 1,500 each? You see, question is not clear. Is it 1,500 each or is it 1,500 for all children? You know what the CA Institute told us when we were correcting the answers? Institute said, as an examiner, for the examiner, the instruction given by the institute was, if the student has written a note, that is the important part. If the student has written a note, give half mark for that note, saying that what is the assumption the student has made. Let the student make any assumption, for both you give marks. Look at that. But where the student will lose is, they will do some assumption without writing what is the assumption they made. There they lost half mark. I think you're getting where all you will lose that half mark for not putting that assumption in your footnotes. So if you see in this answer what this student has done here, this will help you to understand what were the correct things he did and what are the wrong things the student did. So he's got this half mark for the calculation. Then if you see, so beautifully student has written profits and gains of business profession. You see, put the neat heading. See, neatly the student has written the heading here and then only started the answer. See, this is very important to write such headings and then start the answer. Or you can also put it as salary, working note 1, business profession, working note 2, and then give separate working notes. Both are correct. Hey, hope you're understanding. This is not the only way to write an answer. What you can do, you can also simply say salaries and say working note 1, ho gaya. House, business and profession, working note 2, ho gaya. Later on you can give, or in the beginning only start with working notes. For salary, basic, HRA, do all the working notes. Then for business, do the working notes. Then at the end you can write the computation. However you write, it's okay. Because the way I give you marks is for each presentation, half mark, one mark, like that. Then again, see for the student writing about this truck, about writing about the truck, the examiner is given half mark for writing about that. Then income from other sources, for telling that for post office, for taking that amount, the examiner is given half mark. Then the deduction for that interest, you got company deposits and you get half mark for showing that you can minus the admissible expense. So here he has done admissible expense. Then he has written here about half mark for writing about that interest on savings scheme. See, look at that. For every item the student has taken, examiner has given half mark for that. And then he has come to chapter 6A reductions. So neatly the student has written chapter 6A reductions. But then he made some mistakes. He has put whatever he wanted. So if you see, examiner has given 0 here. Here the examiner gave half mark because this was okay. Of course, this was the old law, okay, 15,000. Now the new law is 25,000. This was at that time. During 15-16, it was 15,000. Now it has been increased to 25,000 and all that under 80D. Yes, 80D, now it has been increased, okay. Then all wrong things he has taken, for that he has not got marks. You see, in spite of making mistakes, in spite of making so many mistakes, actually there are a lot of mistakes in this answer. I'll tell you here only if you want. Here, if you see here, interest on post office savings bank account, he should have given exemption under section 10 bracket 15, 3,500 rupees. 3,500 rupees exemption is there. This fellow did not bother only. So 8,500 minus 3,500 difference. 5,000 only should be taxable here. He has not given all this. So if he had done all that, you would have got another half mark for doing the correct calculations. I think you're understanding now where all he has lost the marks. And even in the chapter 6a, he has not even bothered to write which section he is giving. Medical insurance is not even written, it is 80D. You will get half mark extra for that. For writing the correct provision for which you will get half mark extra. Not that he said uska half mark mila hai na. He would have written 80D, he would have got another half mark here. So half year plus half year will become 1 mark now. समझ में आ रहा है ना? Here also you would have got half mark extra. किसके लिए? इसके लिए. If you had written 10 to 15 that you're claiming 3,500, another half mark you would have got here. Sir, इसको half mark मिला है. That half mark is for the taking the taxable portion. He has not written the other part which is the exemption portion. So you see, this is where he lost half marks everywhere. And do you know, when we are correcting the answers, if here his total income answer only is wrong. If it was correct, he would have got half mark here also. If this was correct, he would have got half mark here also. And even for the tax liability, see here, for working notes, so beautifully is written working notes, one for HRA. You see, can you see this? For writing this working note, examiner has given him 1 mark. You see, because it's written least of the following. For writing least of the following, all these calculations, he has got the mark. You see, he's written 1013A. Yeah, and he's written HRA 50%, and he's talked about rent paid minus 10% of salary. HRA exempt will be showing. So he has got 1 mark for showing that working notes. See, working notes will fetch you marks. Tax liability, for doing the tax calculation also he has got marks. Can you see? Examiner has given 1 mark in spite of his answer being wrong. This is interesting. Huh? His total income answer is wrong, but still examiner has given him mark for tax calculation because for that wrong income, he has done the correct tax calculation for that. That means if that was the correct answer, his tax was correct calculation. Look at that. I don't know if you can understand how the examiner is given. He is understood saying that the examiner says, Acha, you know, if that was the income, although it is wrong, if that was the income, you would have got this as the tax liability, therefore I still give you some marks, you see. But if you had done it correctly, you would have got more half mark extra. Then at that point of time, it was called as education and secondary higher education cess and all. Now it is called health and education cess. Health and education cess. Yeah, this is old law, but the new law is health and education cess, 4%. If you do this correctly, you'll get half mark. Look at that. For writing health and education cess 4%, you get half mark. Arey wah, sir. So it is never for the final answer. And then I'll tell you one more mistake he did. He has not done rounding off. If he had done rounding off under section 288B for the tax part, for tax liability, he would have got half mark here for writing rounding off. If he had done rounding off of income, so if you see his income here, his income anyway was round figure, so that question did not arise. Okay. Then notes. You will get marks for writing notes. Look at this. For writing notes, he'll get marks. Look at that. He got half a mark for writing this note. See, this is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. For every note you write correctly, now we'll give you marks for that. The student has written only 1 note. Had he written more than 1 note, now if he had written saying that he has assumed for the 1,500 rupees children education, whatever assumption was there. So like that, if he had written notes, now he would have got half a mark for those notes also. Because we are told when we are correcting, if the student writes this note, give half mark. If the students write this note, give half mark. So for every note you would have written correctly, you would have got marks there also. And if you see, finally the student has got 7 marks. 7 out of 10. Out of 10. So 3 marks, I think you're clear where all he lost. He lost it in the calculations, 1, because he has not shown the correct assumptions, and deductions also were not correct. Chapter 6a also was not correct. So he's lost it there, and he has also lost it in not showing what? The notes. If you had written the notes also, you would have got a little more. So if you do everything correctly, full 10 marks you would have got. I think you're understanding. It is never for your final answer we give you marks. It's not the 10 marks, correct or wrong, otherwise ho gaya, do or die situation. It's not like that. I think you're very clear on how tax papers are corrected. Sir, this is very useful, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So much of doubts in our mind has now been cleared now. I think you're getting it. I'm so happy that you understood. Good. See, this was an 8 marks question. I think by now you're very clear. Look at this question. Martin sold his residential house property for 70 lakhs. which was purchased by him for 20 lakhs. Then he has paid 1 lakh of brokerage. So this was your actual sale consideration. This was your cost of acquisition. 1 lakh was your EOT, expenses on transfer. Stamp duty valuation is given. That means you're supposed to find out what is called as stamp duty value is used for your DSC, deemed sale consideration, under section 50C. Hope you remember all this, right? 50C deemed. All this will fetch you marks. When you write working notes about all this, na marks milega. Half mark. Abhi samajh mein aa gaya. Aa raha hai, sir. Then he bought another house. The moment you say sold one house and bought one house, if you write section 54, you will get half a mark for writing section 54. Then you give the exemption calculations. Then he has invested in capital gain bond on National Highway Authority of India, 54 EC. You will get half a mark for writing 54 EC. See, now you only know where your 8 marks is there. You know, for where all you'll get half mark. Haan, sir, iske liye half mark milega, iske liye half mark milega. You can only now start guessing where is your 8 marks. 54 EC if it is within 6 months. Within 6 months, because investment has to happen within 6 months from the time you have sold it. Then he has deposited 10 lakhs in a capital gain scheme. You know, if you deposit in capital gain account scheme to construct one additional floor, you can still claim section 54. Section 54 for putting it in CGAS, capital gain account scheme. So if you're writing one note on this, you'll get again half mark. And then they're asking you to compute capital gains. And they're giving you cost inflation index. Normally in the exam, they will only give you the index. You don't have to mug up any index. This was a question relating to the 2014-15. Therefore, they give index for 14-15 and 6-7. Your year ke liye, they would have given you the correct indexes if you are solving for your year. This was that year ka question. Therefore, I think, see, now you already know where your 8 marks is there. Ah, sir. So this 8 marks may see how the student has got also. See, now you'll easily understand. I think now you got it. He got half mark for writing what should be the sale consideration because he's put that note. He has got half mark for writing about EOT, that brokerage. Look at that. Half mark was just to write that brokerage. He has got 1 mark for writing indexation. Look, he has taken the correct indexation numbers and he has solved. He would have got half mark more if he had written the formula here. If he had written that index cost of acquisition is equal to cost of acquisition into CII for the year of transfer divided by CII for the year of acquisition and put the respective transfer year, whatever is the year, if he has written the years and all. If he had written all this, he would have got half mark more there. Alright, samajh mein? Aa gaya, sir. Then look at that. He got half mark for writing exemption under 54. He got 1 mark to talk about 54 EC and showing the note 3 for showing that it was received within 6 months. He has got half mark for telling that for capital gain account scheme deposit. Look at that. And you see, even if the answer is correct, if the answer is correct, he gets half mark for the correct answer. Hey, don't go by this answer, okay? This answer was okay for that year. In that year, that was the answer. Now for you, indexation will change. You see, even for the right answer, if your answer is right, for the final answers be half mark aega. So somewhere if you made a mistake, you will lose that half mark because final answers may not be wrong. But it's not that you lose 8 marks. You'll still get marks for every step. Every step you're getting marks. aa raha hai sir, super sir, samajh mein aa gaya sir. Then if you see here, he's put all the notes and then he's done the tax calculation. For the tax calculation also, they've given him half mark. He has got totally 5.5 marks. Now, where did he lose the marks? It's an 8 marks question, isn't it? Where all did he lose the marks? Let's see where all he lost the marks. Chalo. 8 marks question tha na? Where he got, we understood that. Where did he lose? Let's see where he lost. Yahan to mil gaya. I told you one place he lost is for not putting the formula. If he had put the formula, he would have got marks there. This is so there to ek half mark aa gaya wahan pe. Okay. Then in your tax payable, he has made a mistake. Here. This tax was wrong. If the tax was correct, then you would have got 1 more mark for this. Here tax is wrong. Therefore, he has lost the marks because tax calculation was wrong. Then look at the notes. He has got half a mark here for writing the note on 50C. I told you, 50C, if you go by stamp duty value and compare it, and then you take whichever is higher. So for that, he got half a mark. For writing about section 54, the examiner has already given the marks there only. But the way he wrote the note, otherwise he would have got half mark here. What exemption is given where new residential property is purchased by SSE and a residential property is sold. No, that is not the way to write. You should say after selling, you have to write there, no? First, once you sell residential house and then you should buy residential. The way it's written is it doesn't look right. You would have got half marks. Sell residential and buy residential house either 1 year before, 2 years, or 2 years after. This is for purchase. 3 years after if it is for construction. Now like that, if it's written a note, then you would have got half mark here also. So he lost that half mark there. 54 EC, of course, within 6 months. For that, the examiner, because he's written the note here, half mark was for the note and half mark for showing the calculation. That's why the examiner straight away gave 1 mark here. Can you see 1 mark here, all of you? For 54 EC, the examiner straight away gave 1 mark because half mark was for the answer and half mark was for the note. So put together, they already gave him the marks there. So that he has done correctly. Tax calculation, he made a mistake. See, long-term capital gains, LTCG is always at the rate of 20%. So if he should have written LTCG will be at the rate of 20% under section 112. Had he written this, then he would have got the marks, and then of course the calculation also was wrong here. And then if you see here, he is not written about the cess, health and education cess, here he says, yeah, 4%. Of course, now it is 4%. Before it was something else. That is about secondary and higher education cess and all was there. If I had written that, there also would have got half mark. I think you understood where all he has lost the marks. I think you're very clear now. Sir, super, sir. Absolutely clear, sir. Now I'm sure you're very comfortable in understanding how the examiner will correct. You know, now what's going to happen after this session for you now? After this session, the great advantages you'll have from now on is when you read anything in law, you know what all you should read, and therefore you're now visualizing how I should write an answer. And when you do some tax problems, you'll start realizing when you see the question itself, इसके लिए half mark मिलेगा, इसके लिए half mark मिलेगा, ये half mark मिलेगा. See, your mind will start telling you where all you can score your marks. I think this session would have been very useful for you to appreciate and understand how you can present your answers and score marks. Now, this is one popular question students always ask me. Should I write sections in my answers? Yeah, I don't know how many of you observed. If you see the answers also, only in some answers students had written the sections. In some answers, they're not written any section at all. Still, the students got half mark. Dekha na? But still, they did not get full marks, right? Sometimes if the examiner is very lenient, he may give you, but otherwise he may not give. So what is it that you should remember? If you give the section reference, you will get extra marks. One. Second, it will add to your confidence. See, if you can remember some sections and write, the kind of confidence level is very different. You will find a different confidence level in yourself, right? And then examiners will become more liberal in giving marks. See, like we saw, no, that shelf prospectus, student written section 31. See, students will be, once he starts writing certain things, no, even some small mistakes if they have done, the examiner tends to ignore such mistakes because if you have overall the student has done well. So they'll be more liberal in correcting your paper. But most importantly, never write wrong sections. If you don't know the right section, please don't write it. Never quote any wrong section at all. So if you don't know, if you know it for sure, you write it. If you're not sure, please don't write at all. And if you don't give section reference, you will still get your marks for correct answer, but you will not get full marks. I think you understand. You have seen the answers, what I've showed it to you. They still got marks. They'll still get marks, but it will not be full marks. Every mark matters between pass and fail, or between rank and no rank, or between exemption and no exemption. All my answers are correct. All my answers are correct. Pakka. All answers correct. Section also I wrote. Then I will get, let us say, 4 out of 4. I did not write section, but my answer is correct. I may get 3. Instead of 4, I may get 3. But then what I want you to observe is this. If I get 3 out of 4, that means I got 75% marks. That means if all my 100 marks paper is correct, 75 marks I'll still score out of 100. Wow, good, great. But if all my answers are correct. But imagine I wrote the paper only for 80 marks. I don't know if you're understanding what I'm trying to tell you. I wrote the paper only for 80 marks. If I've written only for 80 marks, if I've written only for 80 marks, if everything is correct, then I'll get 60, right? Because I've not written the sections and all. Correct. If some of my answers were wrong, so imagine only around 50 marks I've written correctly. Kitna? 50. But since I did not go the sections and all, I got 75% of 50, which is 37.5 marks. Fail. So between pass and fail, it can be a difference. Maybe by writing the correct sections, you have got that half mark everywhere. And because of half mark, just think now, how many sub questions you would have answered. Just think. Yeah, 5-6 questions you'll have. 5 questions, let us say you have. In that 5 questions, 2 or 3 sub questions are there. So that means 15 questions you're answering. 15 questions, even if you're talking about half mark everywhere, 7.5 marks is a big number. You can score that 7.5, 8 marks extra aa jayega to. It can be a difference between pass and fail. It can be between rank and not getting a rank. It can be between exemption and not getting an exemption. So try to remember sections. My students know it, right? So you know it. Those who have been my students. You know AGM, for example. AGM is supposed to be held during business hours. AGM is obviously annual general meeting during business hours. What is business hours? 9 to 6. So ye to manam hai na 9 to 6. So we'll say section number 96. Arey wah, 9 to 6 is 96. So AGM is under section 96. Then emergency, if you call for a meeting, if there's an emergency, something is going wrong, you'll call now 100. 100 emergency 100 ko dial karo. Same thing. Emergency meetings, EGM, extraordinary general meeting, 100. Emergency, so 100. So section 100. It's okay. You will try your own ways to remember some sections. And the more you keep practicing the sections, you keep writing a few sections. See, it's highly impossible that you'll remember all the sections. You should have experience like us. Now, I have been teaching students of CA, ICAA, CS and all from the year 1992-93. From 93 and all, 92-93 I've been teaching. So for me, I can remember those sections because so many times we would have seen it. I don't expect that you will know all the sections in one shot. No, it's okay. But at least try to remember some important sections. Start making those small charts like how I showed you now. Make those notes. Then it will help you to remember some sections. So it's always good to remember some sections. Same thing with case laws also. If you can remember some case laws, good. Otherwise, it's okay. Don't worry so much about it. Anyway, a few case laws only are there. So a quick recap on what we have discussed. For theory, it should be in point format, and not only point format, plus highlight keywords. For practicals, don't forget to write PFC. Taxation marks will be given for every step. Working notes will carry marks, and footnotes and assumptions also carry marks. So don't forget this also. I think you're clear with both law and tax. So just to sum up finally, right, since you'll all be writing your examinations, a very beautiful statement, right, very popular statement made by this was made by Dale Carnegie, wherein they said, believe that you will succeed. First you have to believe that you will succeed. If you believe you will succeed, and then you will definitely succeed. So Dale Carnegie so beautifully said, believe first. The belief that you hold in the beginning of the journey will define your journey. I repeat, the belief that you hold in the beginning of the journey will define your journey. With what belief system you begin your journey, that will start defining your journey. If your belief system itself is, I will not pass where I will pass, then nothing will happen. Even God cannot help you. The belief is required. Belief that you hold in the beginning of the journey will define your journey. Just remember this beautiful extra gyan. The belief that you hold in the beginning of the journey will define your journey. If you have that belief, and that's a starting point, that you will definitely succeed. So having understood this one, I always tell something more to my students. I'll tell them, you will succeed, correct? But for that, what you should do? If you have to succeed, number one, you must have perseverance. Meaning what? Yeah, full Josh you will start today. Yeah, yes, Vijay Raja's session we saw today. After Vijay Raja's session, we are very motivated, full Josh. But you're not continuing it. No use. This is a CA examination. It requires many months together of efforts. Months together. Not 1 day, 2 days. 1 day before exam nahi hoga. Months together of efforts. So there must be perseverance, number one. And the second one, there should be joy. Yeah, in overcoming the obstacles. You should actually love it. Even now when you saw this session, no, you should feel nice about yourself. Arey yaar, now I have understood how to write practical questions ka answer. Arey yaar, now I have understood your tax mein half mark kahan milega. Now I understood for every step I can gain marks. So you should start feeling the joy in yourself. Arey yaar, now I've become much better. Before watching this session and after watching this session, I am not the same person. That is how you should think. You are no more the same person before watching this session and after watching this session. There is so much clarity in your mind. That confidence and the joy should be there. That is what Helen Keller said. You should have perseverance and you must have the joy in overcoming the obstacles. Obstacles will be there, but the joy is in overcoming them. And this is what I tell my students. And that is I'm telling all of you. If you're watching this, then you're my student. You will succeed because most people are lazy, but you are not. Many people, the brains itself works like this. Full-time job of the brains is to make you lazy. Simply, even now, some of them, when they're watching this video, they'll be watching like this. Ananta Padmanabha Swami style. Are, kya bol raha hai, and all that. You will not, then that is laziness. The brain's full-time job is to make you lazy. And if you have listened to your brain, then you're gone. Laziness aa jayega. Oh, finished. Your job is already done. Those students who don't believe in being lazy, you will definitely succeed. Why? Because most people are lazy, but you are not. As long as you are not lazy, unlike the others, put your efforts. You will definitely succeed. And therefore, to conclude, don't wait for anything. Now that I've told you everything about what you should do, now you don't wait. Make your move now. Make your move now. Let's start right now. And my best wishes are always with